300,000 years ago, Homo sapiens emerged. They were not a separate species. They were us, genetically, physically, and cognitively. Modern genetic analysis shows that today's humans and early Homo sapiens share nearly identical genomes. This means we are not distant descendants. We are a direct continuation. There has been no clear evolutionary leap since that time. The modern human body is built upon biological principles established hundreds of thousands of years ago. The skeleton, digestive system, and brain structure all retain their original design. There has been no restructuring, only minor adaptations to new environments. And it's not just the body. Basic reflexes, like being startled by loud noises, discomfort in the dark, or craving sweet and fatty foods, are the result of selection across tens of thousands of generations. These are hardwired responses formed in the wild, where survival depended on speed, awareness, and immediate reaction. When we sense that we're being watched in the forest, when our heart rate rises without a visible threat, these are not imagined. They are ancient neural systems activating, systems that once protected our ancestors from predators. Modern humans live in houses, under artificial light, surrounded by technology and convenience, but our nervous system still operates on its original settings. Today's stressors, deadlines, social tension, financial pressure, are not saber-toothed cats, but our brains still react as if they are existential threats. We are not merely modern beings, we are ancient software running in a new shell, a biological system shaped by time, by survival struggles across millennia, and still running in the background every day. Understanding humans from 300,000 years ago isn't just about studying the past. It's about understanding ourselves, how we think, react, love, fear, and seek meaning. Because even in this modern world, everything fundamental is still written by the logic of evolution. And the first chapter of that story still echoes in every cell. Part 2, Genetics, Unwritten Records. Genes do more than determine appearance. They preserve the full record of evolution, selected over hundreds of thousands of years. Every biological trait, from reflexes and sensory preferences to behavioral tendencies, can be traced back to specific survival contexts in prehistory. Survivors in the wild had common traits: sensitivity to sound, rapid threat response, ability to adapt to cold, heat, and long-term hunger. The genes that controlled those capacities were passed down, not through stories, but through molecular code. For example, the DRD4 gene is associated with novelty-seeking and adventurous behavior. Its prevalence is higher in populations with nomadic histories. In modern life, it may express as a desire for travel or thrill-seeking, but fundamentally, it was a behavioral strategy that helped ancestors find new territories and food sources when old ones failed. Fear of darkness, anxiety in unfamiliar places, or the reflex to turn around when hearing footsteps. These behaviors are linked to genes supporting early threat detection. Individuals who lacked these traits often didn't survive long enough to reproduce. Those with sharper nervous systems, even if more anxious, had better odds of survival. Biologically, emotions are chemical responses, but those signals didn't arise by chance. They are the product of countless interactions between harsh environments and evolving genomes. Seeking light, feeling safer near fire, or tensing at rustling leaves, these aren't arbitrary behaviors. They are responses encoded into the nervous system by natural selection, and they continue to operate in modern humans like background software. Even gut feelings of danger are neurological responses to subtle or incomplete signals. The brain, trained by evolution to detect patterns, even faint ones, triggers action before conscious evidence appears. This once conferred a major survival advantage. This entire genetic system, from habits and preferences to emotional responses, is an unwritten record. No one told these stories. There were no books. Yet the information has been transmitted precisely and selectively through every cell. Modern science has only begun decoding these mechanisms, but all current findings point to a single conclusion. Modern humans are biological beings of the past, living within a shell of civilization. What we do each day, from how we perceive threat to what gives us peace, can be traced back to the world our ancestors faced 300,000 years ago. Not everything aligns with modern logic, but these systems persist, quietly shaping our human experience. Part 3. Our bodies still live in the past. The human body was not designed for a sedentary lifestyle. The feet evolved for long-distance walking, not for shoes or sitting still for hours. The spine was optimized for constant movement across uneven terrain, not for office chairs. The shape of the pelvis, the sweat-cooling system, the form of fingers and nails, the muscle-to-fat ratio. These traits were sculpted to support a hunter-gatherer life that lasted hundreds of thousands of years. These features haven't significantly changed because not enough time has passed for evolutionary selection to act under modern conditions. When the body experiences stress, it doesn't differentiate between a predator and a stressful email. Heart rate increases, pupils dilate, muscles tense, and adrenaline is released. This fight or flight response is an ancient survival mechanism still functioning exactly as programmed. The biological system doesn't update in real time. It reacts to signals, not context. That's why a ringing phone or urgent message can trigger the same biochemical cascade as an ambush in the forest. Anxiety in confined spaces, avoidance of dark areas, the reflex to glance behind at sudden noises, all these originate from prehistoric survival scenarios. These were once advantages and remain encoded in our autonomic nervous system. Craving sugar, salt, and fat is another holdover from a survival past. In environments of scarcity, high-energy foods were valuable. The brain evolved to reward consumption of such resources. That system still exists, though in today's world of abundance, it often causes harm. Sleep patterns also reveal biological mismatch. Our circadian rhythm still depends on natural light, even with artificial illumination. Lack of sunlight exposure during the day and excess blue light at night disrupt our internal clock, leading to insomnia, metabolic issues, and cognitive decline. Not due to faulty design, but because the system is now operating in the wrong environment. Common issues such as back pain, metabolic slowdown, or chronic anxiety are not evolutionary defects. They are symptoms of placing an ancient system into an incompatible setting. The body is unaware that it lives in the digital age. It still behaves as though it must walk 15 kilometers daily, eat seasonally, sleep with the sun, and remain alert to physical threats. Recognizing this explains many behaviors, feelings, and disorders of modern life. These are not individual failures. They are mismatches between old biology and new context. In essence, the human body still lives in the past, and until evolution catches up to civilization, we must adjust our modern lives to suit the ancient machinery running within us. Part 4. Invisible memory, language, emotion, and ritual. Evolutionary legacy is not limited to bones or genes. It also resides in emotions, symbols, and ritual behaviors, intangible elements that have been reliably reproduced across generations. Before spoken language existed, humans communicated through gesture, sound, and imagery. A hug, eye contact, or lullaby are forms of interaction that predate written symbols by hundreds of thousands of years. These actions are not taught. They emerge spontaneously in all human societies, regardless of culture. Neuroscientific studies show that core emotions, anger, fear, joy, sadness, have stable biological structures and appear in every known civilization. This confirms that emotion is not purely cultural, but a survival-based feedback system shaped by prehistoric environments. Ritual behavior emerged early. Archaeological evidence shows purposeful burials, the placement of objects near bodies, and the use of mineral pigments in ceremonial contexts. Dating back hundreds of thousands of years, These behaviors indicate that early humans had developed concepts of death, the soul, or at least a distinction between life and inert matter. Symbolism was the foundation of abstract thought. Handprints on cave walls, repeated patterns, spirals, or animal figures served no direct survival function. These were ways our ancestors encoded non-physical information, events, emotions, memories, beliefs. This symbolic system laid the groundwork for language, religion, and art. It enabled humans to process and share experiences beyond what the senses could directly perceive, an ability that differentiated Homo sapiens from other human species. Today's acts of sharing photos, memories, or emotional states on social platforms can be seen as modern expressions of ancient symbolic behavior. The tools have changed, but the underlying function remains constant. There is no definitive evidence that Homo sapiens had fully developed language 300,000 years ago, but neurological structures, especially the Broca and Wernicke areas responsible for language, had already evolved significantly. This suggests symbolic thought was present, even if not yet encoded in stable vocal systems. The full spectrum of modern human rituals, emotions, and symbols can be understood as accumulated results of behavioral foundations from prehistory. These behaviors didn't disappear. They evolved into new forms, adapted to new technologies and social frameworks. In short, evolutionary memory doesn't only live in our bones. It persists in how we feel, how we express, and how we imagine life, death, and the intangible. This is a deep form of memory, wordless, yet powerful enough to shape entire civilizations. Part 5. We are the living legacy. Modern humans are the direct result of 300,000 years of continuous evolution. There was no rupture, no replacement. We are not separate from our ancestors. We are their extension. The entire architecture of the body, the nervous system, instinctual behavior, and core emotions are inherited from prehistoric Homo sapiens. These features did not appear by accident. They were shaped by natural selection, preserved for their survival value, and still exist in every person today. When modern humans perform basic behaviors, walking, eating, perceiving danger, forming social bonds, they are using the same systems that operated in the ancient world. Seemingly simple actions like holding hands, sharing food, or making eye contact during conversation are rooted in group dynamics from the hunter-gatherer era. Each generation does not begin from zero. It is built on the physical and behavioral scaffolding of the previous one. What our ancestors learned through trial and error, through success and failure, we inherit automatically. Genetic studies confirm that the majority of modern human DNA descends from Homo sapiens, who originated in Africa around 300,000 years ago. Minor variations emerged later due to geographic and environmental differences and through contact with other human populations, like Neanderthals and Denisovans. But the core genome remains largely unchanged. Biologically, we are not a new species. We are Homo sapiens, maintained, migrated, enriched by culture, but still carrying the essential characteristics of our earliest ancestors. Even complex mental systems, belief, morality, self-awareness, did not appear suddenly. They evolved from older traits, like facial recognition, social memory, and fairness detection, behaviors that have been documented in early human societies. We often believe that civilization has distanced us from nature. In reality, our bodies and brains still operate as if we were wild animals, only placed inside a technological shell. The echoes of the ancient world still resonate in our heartbeat, in our reflexes, in our behavioral tendencies. The concept of civilization does not erase evolution. It only changes its surface expression. Evolutionary legacy persists in the form of biological systems still running underneath. Each person alive today is a moving record, an accumulation of 300,000 years of existence. Not just in DNA, but in neural architecture, emotional expression, and unconscious behavior. We don't merely carry the past, we are the past, in motion. And recognizing that is not just academically valuable, it helps us locate who we truly are in this modern age. Ancient beings surviving in a new world.